All right, the most annoying fans in sports, and that's saying a lot, are Scottish national team fans. So today there's this video released by
this tournament. Exciting, dynamic. Best football we've played since 2012.
But Scotland were terrible, Alan.
I'm not talking about Scotland.
I'm Spanish through and through. It's in my blood. The culture, the language.
you have all these Scottish fans, rooting for Spain. Here Scottish fans enjoying themselves out in Spain. Scottish fans in great spirits for Spain against England. This is the most annoying thing in the world because the Scottish people remind me. There's an old Dave Chappelle joke where he's talking about white women complaining about white men with black men, right? And they're like, "Oh my God, we've been under hundreds of years of oppression of white men." And Dave Chappelle's like, "We no, you're in on the heist. You just didn't like your cut." Right? Basically saying that like white women were oppressing black people just as much as white men were. They just didn't like their percentage of the winnings of the oppression. That's the same thing with Scottish people and English people. Scottish people try to create this distance between them and England. They like to say, like, oh, England is this oppressive power and we're the lowly Scots who have been oppressed by England. It's bullshit. It is bullshit. Scotland was in on the heist. They just didn't like their cut. So, just to prove this point, so the United Kingdom was formed with the Union of the Crowns on March 24th, 1603. This happened with the ascension of James the First and James the Sixth to the throne of to the throne of England. Basically, what happened was, just to make a long story short, after Henry VIII died, Elizabeth became queen. After Elizabeth died, Mary became queen, and she died. They didn't really have anybody. I just want to make sure I got the history correct. I think William of Orange might have happened after or before. No, William of Orange happened way after. So the William of Orange happened after Charles II. So basically, they had this crisis where they didn't have a king in England, so they invited James the Sixth from Scotland to become King of England in 1603, and that's when you had this union of England and Scotland becoming the United Kingdom. Everything bad that people accuse England of doing happened after 1603, guys. Y'all were in on the heist. By the way, you talk about colonization, about England as a colonial power. What year was the first colony in America? Oh, it was Jamestown in 1607. It was named after James the First of England, who was James the Sixth of Scotland. The first American colony was named after the first Scottish king of the United Kingdom. The second the Scots became in charge, you guys started colonizing shit. What the fuck are you guys talking about? Where is this complaint coming from? South Africa. 1795. That happened way after. Actually, who was prime minister? Prime minister of the UK in 1795. Let's see this, because if this was a Labour, what party was? It was a Tory. Okay, I'll give you that, guys. I'll give you that. We're live checking some of this stuff, but still, you guys were part of the United Kingdom when that happened. When did India get colonized? India got colonized by the British East India Tea Company in 1757, and then became part of the domain of the British Empire in 1857. 254 years after the United Kingdom became one country. You guys are you guys are equal. This is the flag of England. This is the flag of the United Kingdom, right? Okay? This is the flag of the United Kingdom. The blue part is Scotland. this part is England, and this part is Northern Ireland. You guys are literally a part of it. By the way, one more thing, for all the Scottish people who complain about England, England doesn't have its own national government, but Scotland does. So you have extra privileges that the English people don't. The English people you get to govern England. The English people don't get to govern you as much as you get to govern them. You guys are the colonizers in this relationship. So there's nothing more annoying than when Scottish people just complain about England colonization and are like, oh, we hate England. You guys are the same country. Get over it. You guys have been the same country for 500 years now. The most famous English manager is Sir Alex Ferguson, a Scot. When Tony Blair became Prime Minister, who was his Director of Communications? Alistair Campbell. Who was the guy responsible for starting the Iraq War? It was Alistair Campbell, right? Tony Blair became Prime Minister in 1993, so in the past 30 years, so 1993 to 2010, that is 17 years, and the Tories, which primarily represent England, have been in power for 13 years. You guys have been in power over England more than England has. Anyway, I know I'm just ranting, but oh my god, stop this shit. By the way, you should just have one football team. You're one country. You're not four countries. You're one country. Just have one team. But anyway, since I'm just talking about how much I hate Scotland, I also hate Scottish people. There is no bigger misrepresentation of a group of people on planet Earth than Scottish people. Because in media, Scottish people are seen as these tough, yes, they wear kilts, but these tough, manly men. If you meet them in real life, they're the biggest whiny little bitches you'll meet in your entire life. They are just fucking whiny cunts. And I can say that because I'm talking about Scottish people. They are the worst. These people just complain, like England's colonization, America's a superpower, oh my god, I hate everybody, I hate everything. Scottish people are if you think about like countries as people in a lunchroom, in school, the Scottish people are like that emo kid who's listening to Elliot Ness and cutting himself, but in fact his dad runs a hedge fund and he has a trust fund worth $50 million. That's basically Scotland. Scotland is that overprivileged kid who becomes leftist political activist and takes over Columbia. There's that guy who took over the school in Columbia, and it turned out that his dad was a multimillionaire. He had a multi-million-dollar hedge trust fund. That's Scotland. They're responsible and benefit from every single thing that they accuse England of, and yet they try to pretend like they're the ones being colonized. You guys are not. The first American colony was ordered by James VI of Scotland. And by the way, you guys were in charge of England for what? It was about 100 years? Let's look this up. When was Charles II? Charles II died in 1685, so that's about 100 years. You guys were in charge of England. You guys were fucking terrible at it. The Scottish kings of England were probably the worst kings. So, if anything, the fact that England now gets to decide what happens in Scotland is a good thing. Because you guys are incompetent, you guys are terrible, you guys are whiny little cunts, and I hope that you root for Spain in the Euro final, because England's gonna win, and you guys are gonna be shown to be the whiny little bitches that you are. Fuck you, and fuck Scotland.